guys, this is Dog Mom Prepper, and this video segment is going to be on the nuclear fallout in your pet. What we can do to prepare before, what we can do to support them during, and what we can do to help them rebuild after exposure to radiation poisoning. So they, whoever they is, the government, the Surgeon General, whoever they is, says that exposure to nuclear material is a minimal threat here in the United States. I tend to disagree with that. A lot of us are concerned about the possibility of either civil or foreign attack, are concerned with our power plants, and concerned with the testing that the government does on nuclear weapons. So a lot of us do prepare for some sort of radiation. That being said, we cannot gown and suit up and mask our pets. So the very best that we can do, and what they suggest first, is to evacuate. In most case scenarios, we are only giving 1 hour's notice that we are going to be exposed to nuclear radiation, if we're even given a warning. A lot of times, evacuation is not going to be possible for us, so then we must hunker down. So option A, you need to evacuate. If you cannot evacuate, option B is to hunker down. You can hunker down in a basement or fallout shelter. If you live below sea level like we do here in Florida, that's not an option. You need to get to your safe room, your room that has the least amount of windows and doors that you would use for a hurricane or for a tornado. So that's the room that you're going to want to be in. If that room does have windows, you're going to put plastic sheeting over those windows and tape it shut. You're going to do the same with the door, and you're going to tape the vents shut and turn off your central air conditioner. As far as your pets go, during this time, you're going to want them contained. Your cats and dogs need to go into kennels. The best kennel for this situation and for most situations is going to be your airline kennels. Those are the plastic ones that have the small vent holes in the side of it. Those work much better than the metal crates. If all you have is metal crates, then that's what you're going to use. You're going to put 3 to 4 layers of towels and blankets over it. Not enough so that they're suffocating, but enough that you're going to be able to have some layers between them and any exposure to contaminated air. The second thing with your pets is you do not want any open food or water in their kennels. Should any radiation leak through, you don't want that into their food and water. So during that immediate time, there's going to be no food or water. If you have that hour's notice that you're going to be exposed, you're going to start 2 things with your pets. You can start it with humans also, but since this channel is about pets, we're going to talk specifically about them. Potassium iodide. Most preppers have that in your kit. You can give it to your pets also. There are some web pages that give you the dosing on it for potassium iodide for pets. I would prefer if you would speak to your veterinarian about it for 2 reasons. One, some pets have allergic reactions to iodine, and they can have it in smaller doses, and your veterinarian can give you those doses. And 2, if your pet already has a thyroid condition, you're going to want to speak to your vet about the safe dosing for that, especially if it's a cat that has thyroid issues. There's going to be some different dosages for them than there is for a general healthy pet. So speak to your vet about that. So that's number 1 that you're going to start before exposure. The second one is going to be echinacea. Cats cannot take echinacea. Humans can, and dogs can. They actually call this the antidote for nuclear radiation is echinacea. So you're going to start that before exposure if possible. If not, you're going to start it as soon after as you can. Now, the dosages that are given for the supplements afterwards to support the immune system are going to differ depending on the severity of the exposure to nuclear radiation or for radiation poisoning. Some of the symptoms are going to include nausea and vomiting within 10 minutes to 6 hours. The way you gauge that, if the vomiting doesn't start until 6 hours after exposure, there's a much more minimal exposure than if it starts 10 minutes. So the sooner these symptoms start after exposure, the higher the dose the animal was exposed to. Nausea and vomiting, 10 minutes to 6 hours. Diarrhea, 1 to 8 hours. Headaches, 2 to 24 hours. Yes, our pets get headaches also. You're going to notice that they get real squinty-eyed, that they're blinking often. They might be sensitive to light and generally grouchy. That's how you're going to know if your pet does have a headache. Fever is 1 to 3 hours, and then comes disorientation and weakness 1 to 4 weeks after radiation exposure. And this is also going to include hair loss, bloody vomit and stool, infections, slow healing wounds, and low blood pressure. Oftentimes it's not the actual radiation poisoning that will kill us. It is actually these secondary infections and viruses that we get when our immune system has been knocked out, which is basically what radiation exposure is going to do. So after radiation exposure, we're going to support the immune system. You're going to find a radiation exposure kit that is going to be in a video of mine under the Custom Aid series, which is going to be out very soon. You're going to look for nuclear radiation exposure. And this is going to be a kit that is different from your first aid kit, and it's going to have those vitamins and supplements in it that you're going to need specific for that. In this video, I am going to tell you really quickly what I would suggest that you do have in that kit for supporting your pet afterwards. The potassium iodide, we just talked about that. You're going to start that before or as soon after as possible. The echinacea, the same thing, before or as soon after as possible. The other things you're going to want to include are activated charcoal and bentonite clay. These are absorbent properties, and these are going to take care of the toxins, poisons, heavy metals, and radiation, and help the body rid itself of that. So make sure they are food grade. You can get them at vitamin stores or natural stores, and make sure those are included in your kit for after radiation exposure. Baking soda is another one that you can give orally. That's going to help protect the kidneys and reduce the changes caused by uranium. Multivitamins, you're going to start those as soon after radiation exposure as possible. I prefer that you use a powder or a liquid multivitamin versus a tablet or a pill. If your pet is too ill to swallow or just won't swallow because it's stressed out, you're going to be able to give that vitamin by oral syringe, and it's also going to be absorbed in the body much faster because it's already what we call pre-digested. So it's going to be absorbed much quicker, and higher doses of it are going to be absorbed if it's already in a liquid or a powder formula. N-acetylcysteine, or NAC, helps with tissue damage. You're going to want to make sure that's included in your kit. Colloidal silver. This is a natural antiviral supplement, and it's also great for in secondary infections and wounds that are on the skin. So if we get a cut, an abrasion, boils and cysts, you're going to be able to use that colloidal silver right on the skin and treat right where the symptoms are at. Cod liver oil is rich in omega-3s, vitamin A and vitamin D, which is a great anti-inflammatory and also helps support immune system function. Now, there are many different forms for your omegas. For pets specifically, cod liver oil has the highest amount of vitamin A and vitamin D in it, and it's the easiest absorbed omega fatty acids for pets. So that's what you're going to want to keep in mind. Make sure that any waste from your pet is disposed of where humans are not going to have contact from it after nuclear exposure. So we've given them these properties, this the bentonite clay, we've given them the activated charcoal, the waste material that comes out of your pet afterwards. You're going to want to make sure that you clean up by double gloving your hands, and then by using a box or a bag to clean it up with, and then put into a container with a lid. A lot of cases, and you're going to find one of my videos, we have a doggy dually that we've made. These products, the waste products, would then be put outside and buried in the doggy dually digestive system, or into a 5-gallon bucket that you're going to then put outside, so that humans do not have contact with the radioactive waste that will come out of your pet. So if you have any questions, definitely send me a message. There's not too much I found on the internet that really explains what we should do for our pets in radioactive events or nuclear fallout. So I've kind of done my own research and put together some things that I think are going to be helpful for you, a kit that you should have. So if you have any questions on the dosing, you can private message me. I'm not putting the dosaging on this video because I want people to be responsible about it and go to their veterinarian and ask. But privately, I'd be more than happy to tell you what dosages I use for my dogs that you can use at your own discretion. So I want you to think about if nuclear fallout is possible, and if it is possible, what you're going to do with that 1 hour's notice that you have to prepare your family and your pets. Let's think about this.